Alright, boys and girls, so we're going to have a look at making a character clap their hands. And for this particular episode of Alice, I've just got a man in a tracksuit with shoes. Looks fine, looks in style, doesn't really matter. The main thing is that you pick up that he can actually move his body in synchronization. So let's have a look and see what this actual code does. Alright, let me get this back and we'll restart it. So you can see that he can easily bring his hands together and they look like he's actually clapping them. Almost like he's grasping his hands. So this is what we want to do in our code. Now, it may seem really easy. Initially, it can be a little bit difficult because you may have to trial and error with some of the blocks. But in the end, it is okay. So let's get out of this and let's start having a look at the code to see what we actually need to do. Okay, so let's get into the code and let's start looking at what we need to do. So the first thing I need is to work out what character I have. Select this character. Now at least I can do the basic movements. But do you notice? Yeah, there are no joint movements here. Remember, the joints are always at the arrow across. Also, the joints are, in addition to being across, you can pick them in another way, and I'll show you that later on in the video. So we need a do together block. And the first thing that I want to do is I want to get the shoulders to move backwards. So I'm going to get the right shoulder. And I'm going to make that backwards. Initially I'll pick by that number, but you'll see we'll change it. I'm then going to get the left shoulder. And I'm going to get that as well. And let's see what it looks like by moving it back this much. Alright, that looked really strange, didn't it? That is not what I wanted. So why am I actually moving the shoulder back? Well, when you clap your hands, you actually move parts of the body that you probably don't think you use. The shoulders are one of these parts. So let's change this now to a different number. And I'm using the custom decimal numbers here. And you have to do this because not every value is listed. If you have a look, you have 0.25. But I don't want 0.25. I want a lower number. So I have to go to custom decimal number. I'm going to type 0.125. And the good thing about Alice is that because it is in Microsoft Windows, you can copy and paste like you would any other document, but you have to do it by the keyboard command, which is Ctrl+C, Control+C on the keyboard. Press that, press OK, then all you have to do is go here and paste, Control+V, Ctrl and the V keys. When you do that, now we'll see how much. Looks better, but let's have a look front on. Get off there. Alright, let's run it again. Okay, still a bit too high, so I'm going to make it even smaller. I'm going to go for a really small number. I'm going to go for 0.05. This means that it will move just a little bit and enough that the shoulders look like they've moved back. Just a little bit. Perfect. That's all I need. So let me position this straight up again a little bit for you. Alright, so the next thing that I need is actually to have this part of the arm and this part of the arm to move upwards. I want it to move towards his chest. Both arms at the same time. And in order to do that, I have to move the elbow joints. I have to make them, give them actions. So we need to now go back into our code window. Okay, so we need to select our character again to make sure that we're always going to move him. And let's grab the elbows. So we need a right elbow. And we are going to, we'll see if we can actually move the elbow first. You know what? Let's just try and pick to move up. Now, this is not correct. I'm showing you what happens though if you actually use the move block for the elbows. We're going to the left elbow and we're going to do the same, the movement block. And I'm going to do it up by 0.25. All right, so now that we are here, if we have a look, we're going to see what happens now. So let's run it. Oh man, that's not what we wanted. Now, Alice is actually doing exactly what we coded, but what the code is and what it states is sometimes not what we planned for our characters. So you have to try and use trial and error for some of these codes to work out what is the best movement. So we're going to go back into the code, and I'm actually going to make it not a move code, because no matter what I do, I'll show you what happens. The movement code is physically moving the arm. It's moving it in all different directions. I don't want to move the arm. I want to move the elbow. Look at that. It's actually moving it forward, but that's not what I want. And if I did it backwards, it's actually moved it behind the body, and I'll show you by going here. Do you see? It's almost cut the arm off and moved it up. This is not what we want at all. So we're going to have a look. I'll get it back to being facing again. Now, the easiest way to do this, I find, is to hold the left mouse button to move this way and to use the right mouse button to turn. Remember, I'm in the camera view. This is always the camera view. Okay, so we're right there. Let's go back to a code. Okay, so now we're going to throw these out. And we have to make sure when we get to the bin that the lid opens. Do you see? If I just do this, it'll keep going back. The lid's not open, keep going back. But if I have it, the lid's open, it'll take it. Excellent. So now I want to get the right code. So I have to go to the joints menu, get the right elbow, and I actually want to use the turn block. We'll just put left for now. I'll correct it and I'll show you guys what it actually is. We want to use the right elbow, and we want to do a turn block as well. Okay, so let's have a look and just see what that actually does for us at the moment. Okay, so we only had one movement there, and that was on the right arm. The left arm did not move at all. So let's have a look and see why. Can you see this mistake I've made? Yeah, 2 right elbows. So of course, that's not going to work. So we want to see which code actually did work. So I'm going to run it. Okay, so I know this code will work for the right elbow. So I'll keep that there. And that was just trial and error. Now I have to go to the left elbow. Let's go to the left elbow. And I want to turn it the opposite way, most likely, to my right. Let's see if this works. Good. Okay. But it's not high enough. So I've got to turn it even higher. I've got to put a higher value than what is there. So let's make it 0.25. Let's run. Good. That's perfect. Now, at the moment, we have it done in stages. One arm up and one arm up. I don't want that. So let's do a do together block and see the difference. We're going to paste this code in. And we'll paste this one in. Let's play it now. It's good. But it's a slight pause. And the reason is that I've got another do together block. So what I want to do is I want to actually go this way and go that way. So there we have it. We're going to actually move the arms all the way up and they're going to be here ready so that they are to be clapped. Next stage is moving these arms across the body. Now what I need to do is I need to as well use another form of elbow codes, block codes. And I want to have the elbow to turn again, but I want to actually make it move forward. And I want to do this for both the amounts. And let's see what happens. Right. Do you see my problem? I've done the same thing again. I've done 2 left elbows. So let's delete that. Remember, you always have to change each time you do a different side. So not left elbow, we want the right elbow. And we want to turn it forward. So let's see now how we go. All right. That looks interesting, but not quite what we want. If we have a look, we'll go to the side and see what is actually happening here because we can't really see it from the front. Okay, let's have a look now and run. Okay, so it's actually turning right into the body. We need to make the shoulders go a bit forward so that the hands and arms don't actually go into the person. So let's go back to the code and we want to get the right shoulder. So we want to be able to move that shoulder forward. And if we get the right shoulder here, what code do you think it is? When we run this, if you have a look, it's doing what we want, but it's moving it at the very end. So let's go back to our code and see if we can correct this. We need these codes underneath. So we need 1, 2. Now let's see if when we run it, it moves the shoulder forward. Good. Now we want this to happen on this side. So we need to get a right shoulder, a left shoulder. So let's get the left shoulder and we need to move it the opposite way of this one. So we need to move the left shoulder to the right. So let's move here, the left shoulder to the right by 0.25. Let's have a look and see what happens. I think that's going to work very well. Okay, let's have a look and see what it looks like side on. We haven't finished yet, but we're getting really close. Okay, so from the front it looks okay, but you saw from the side, the arms are way off, right? So we'll have to lessen the number of the movement. So let's go back to the edit code. Let's make this a custom decimal. We're going to make it maybe 0.125. Control and C. And we're going to do the left shoulder by the same. It's still a lot, isn't it? Still way too much than probably we like. Let's make it even smaller. We're going to go for 0.05. I'm going to do 0.05 on this one. I reckon that's not bad. Let's have a look at what it is from the front. Okay, so we just have to make the movement across now less, because you see the hands are totally passing each other. So let's go back to our edit code, and we're going to make this small. How about we make this 0.05, and we'll control and C. We'll do this as 0.05, and let's have a look. I think that is going to be perfect. We can maybe make it a little bit more if you want. We could do 0.07, and we could do the next one at 0.07 as well. Okay, we'll leave it there. I think that's fine. You can adjust it any way you like. So we need to put all of this now to have it as one complete movement, because as you see, this is fine, but then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want 4 separate steps. We need a do together block to make all this happen. We need to put it in order as well. Okay, let's have a look. Good. Now we just have to do the opposite of this, and we'll have the motion of forward and back. The easiest way when you have similar code that you don't have to modify or change too much is to copy the code and then change the values here. So we're going to do the CTRL button, the control button, and C. Or actually, I should say, correction, CTRL button and the left mouse button. And when I click on that, it automatically copies. So that's a really good shortcut in Alice, how to copy and duplicate text, code. So let's here and let go. And we can copy the code by doing CTRL, left mouse button, and letting go of the left mouse. And there we have it. Now we just have to make the opposite of what this is. So if this was left, this now has to be right. If that was right before, that has to be left. And then this has to be backwards. All right, let's see if this works. Good. So now all we have to do is loop it. And to loop it, we just get a count block. Let's make it 5 times that the person, this guy, claps. Put in the first block. Remember that the order of these do together blocks is important. If I put this instead at the front, let's see here, look what happens. Do you notice? He never gets his hands even close. So we want to make sure these do together blocks and any code is in a particular order. It will matter. It will make your character do particular motions. Okay, I don't think I've fixed it yet. No. So let's go again. Let's see if that worked. Yes, okay, and here we have it. And I'm going to just adjust the camera so you can see him more, not there, you can see him more front on. All right, so here you have it. You can make a character clap. You can also make a character do a whole range of other bodily movements and actions by using the do together block. So remember, this is great for your animations. Put it in, give it a go, trial and error for what works for the movements you want. And your Alice projects will really be amazing when you use this type of code in this way. All right, boys and girls. Well, I'll see you next week, and thanks for watching.